Hey y'all, it's Krypton Critics. I'm here to review the film The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, which was released back in 1989, directed by Peter Greenaway. Stars Richard Bronner as Richard Borst, Michael uh, Gambon as Albert Spicer, Helen Mirren as Georgina Spicer, Alan Howard as Michael, Tim Roth as Mitchell, and Paul Russell as Pup. Now, right off the back, this movie, its plot is heavily based off a very old stage play, and the director and the writer, I think director is the writer, but anyway, kind of circumvented and updated it and made their own version. So it's kind of like a spiritual remake in some ways. Now, this movie is weird as all hell, especially the ending. The whole plot of this movie is that there's this fancy restaurant that is owned by Boris and Spicer. Spicer is married to Georgina. Georgina is her life is miserable. Her husband is abusive and very controlling over everybody. He'll stab you. He'll slap you. He might kill someone that you know. He'll do anything. He is fucking insane. So it doesn't come to a surprise that Georgina would think about cheating, and she does, and she cheats with this character named Michael. For the first few minutes that we know Michael, he doesn't say a word. He's just a guy that reads a book at the restaurant. The restaurant has open back, has a supplanted wall in between the kitchen area and the dining room area. Dining room area is filled with a lot of reds and blacks and whites in his architecture and paintings and what people are wearing. That's the formal wear they expect you to have, but Michael does not. So it helps him stand out in the crowd. He wears brown, and the type of brown that he wears in his suit and tie is looks much like the suit of a scholar or a professor. And our antagonist Albert Spicer just sees him as a bookworm that needs to be crushed. But then he learns about the affair, and he, threatens to, hurt anybody that, has connection to him. He ends up raping his wife, slapping her a lot, dragging her into her own car, bringing the kid Pup, who's like a dishwasher of the restaurant, but for some reason he sings like a gratuitous amount in this film. I'm not gonna say it always works, I'm not necessarily do it for his character, but I'm just sometimes I don't feel like it needs to be there, especially when he okay, so Michael and Georgina kind of do end up together. They have to hide away from the raving lunatic that is Albert, who threatens to eat the new boyfriend, and he just starts breaking shit through all the restaurant. Everybody in the restaurants leaves except for his posse of douchebags like Tim Roth. Not Tim Roth, the actual person, but the character he's playing. Tim Roth, in my opinion, is a very underrated actor. He every movie I've seen him in, even if it's a bad movie, he is a standout role. And this is no excuse. everything that he does, you believe the character would do that. Which, is kind of not the greatest because, we don't know much about him at all. And when I just saw his name, I assumed that he would have a much bigger role. But yeah, Pup, starts giving restaurant food to Georgina and Michael at Michael's apartment. And, our antagonist Albert starts getting suspicions that the kid's involved. So he forces the kid's shirt buttons down his throat and makes him choke, and the kid almost dies. And the kid can't, as far as we know, can't speak. And he's in the hospital, and he has to get into a wheelchair because they torture anybody they suspect of, fucking anything. Now, this is why I'm saying that sometimes I don't think the singing is necessary in the scene, because when we go see this kid at the hospital and he's pretty much knocked out, we hear his singing in the background. I'm like, wait, what? He's not singing himself, but there's his singing in the scene. In the movie where it was a way to show that he is singing in the restaurant, and when he goes to the hospital, that changes. To me, I don't think that's needed in there. Some of the scenes linger too much. Some I think are too short. And to be fair, I'm an American. Sometimes a few of the characters' English accents are a bit much, and I don't catch exactly what they say. Some of the times I would just have to infer what their motives are, what the context is, just by their facial expressions or what happens in the next scene. Occasionally I had to ask my stepdad, who was watching it with me, like, wait, what did he say? But this movie is a romantic, dark comedy drama film. Sometimes one element will work very well, sometimes another, but it's hard to balance all those elements at once. As far as I can tell, the relationship between new boyfriend and Georgina was pretty good. I wouldn't say that's the strongest part of the film. I think the strongest part of the film is the conflict between Georgina and her husband. And it was also interesting to see, the restaurant from the side of the kitchen, to see how big it was and how many foods and how many people are working. There was one guy that every time I see him, I would point him out, because he I don't know why he was just so weird. There was a man who prepares the sauces for the restaurant. This dude is this fat, balding dude with no shirt on and just hairy chest and stomach. I'm like, why are we giving him the role of making the sauce? That's oh my god, put on a shirt, man. But I kind of want to see what he would do next, because it was like, ooh, wait, did he get fatter? Albert in this film, he is not just the villain. He's not just a bully. He also has, crazy philosophies and a lot of jokes. A lot of them actually are really funny, and you kind of kick yourself because they're like, wait, no, don't fucking laugh. He's a fucking asshole. He's horrible. Jesus. But yeah, if you, this movie has plenty of tense, awkward scenes because, probably because of the play aspects that are intentionally made, and the director's been influenced by Baroque and Dutch paintings of the 1700s. Big element of this film is dramatic irony, because for a good portion Albert just assumes that there might be something going on, but he doesn't know. A character has to spill the beans who is a prostitute, like, I would say an hour into the movie. The movie's only an hour and 30 minutes. So, when it gets into that, there's like, oh, we need to wrap it up. We need to make it more crazy. I'm going to spoil this. Yeah, the lover is killed. Instead of buttons being thrown down his throat, we have his paper of the books that he reads and that he's very passionate about, like the French Revolution. And to me, that is the hardest scene to watch because they make it look real, even though it is pretty ridiculous. But just thinking about paper, balled up paper balls being thrown down into your throat, and he's just bleeding everywhere. I'm like, oh God, Jesus, fucking, oy vey. There's a lot of shit smearing in the beginning. I mean, that literally, just to show that our Albert is a complete asshole. There's a weird old woman that sits in the restaurant that doesn't respond to anything. Even a woman gets stabbed in the cheek or face with a fork, and she's like, it's just like, please react. I'm like, are you that senile that you can't notice that happened? Jesus Christ. There's a lot of importance on the color red. The restaurant, aside from the bathroom and the kitchen, are red, but the kitchen and the bathroom are white. So you have, Georgina like telling her husband that I want to go out to the bathroom. She walks out of the red room. We see the red glow on the white, and she closes it, and she's just surrounded by white. This is, the section of where things can be pure and safe. When she goes out and back into, the dining hall, it's all red. It's even good to see, like when her husband comes into the woman's bathroom because he's upset about something. The door will stay open and we have the red light still illuminating on him. So I thought that was very good, visual language about, telling your audience what that is. You can just experience it and you can understand just by noticing like little details like that. Yeah, this movie is really damn crazy. Michael makes a lie halfway through the movie, saying that he's not sleeping with her, and but he is the gynecologist. And then there's a lie that Georgina makes up, like, well, Michael is not the one that I'm sleeping with. I'm sleeping with this black guy, and who is completely fictional. Now let's get to the ending, because the ending, I feel like for a lot of people it will make or break whether they'll give it a high rating or a kind of high rating. The end of this movie, so they already established that, spoilers, that Michael was killed. Georgina feels bad about it, obviously. She, even though it started off as just lust between those two characters, it did turn to romance before he died, and it was further nail on the head when she would talk to Richard Boris, the French cook, who is probably the closest character to being like a hero, but not the protagonist. He's just trying to be a genuinely good man, even though he has to put up with all this bullshit. Everybody has put up with the bullshit of Albert. Everybody is just under his horrible reign. I'm thinking to myself, why doesn't somebody call the fucking police? Because this movie probably has to take place after 1960. It has to be in the 20th century, and nobody really does anything until the end of this film. So I can only imagine how long he's been doing this. He's been doing it for 5 years, 20 years. I don't fucking know. The French cook is convinced to cook Michael's dead body and have it be served to Albert, the antagonist. You know, creep him out and make him try to show him the error of his ways. Georgina gets to be a badass, calls him Cannibal, and shoots him just like, black. You know, she gets what she wanted. She got her revenge for the shittiness, and you know, so many people were behind her. Like everybody that was in the restaurant that's still around was behind her, and they put the thing together with her. Hell, even the posse of Albert Spicer, even they were with on the side of Georgina, just like, well, fuck you, you know. Even when I was in the beginning of the movie and I saw how much of an asshole Albert was, I'm like, you know, if someone shoots him, I don't think his crew would care, and I was fucking right. So you know, this movie has messages of, you know, don't be an asshole. Don't be a womanizer. Understand your environment. Don't try to take over, you know, just because you feel like you have some power. Overall, it is a very fun / disturbing / humorous movie, and I think I'll give it a B+. It's by the Krypton Critics. You know I love you.